Welcome to the second annual Great Debate hosted by the Journalism and Public Relations program at CBU. I'm Becca Wiedemeyer.
And I'm Randy Plavaika. Tonight, we are excited to be live streaming this event in conjunction with ASCBU.
If you're watching this at home or in the audience, make sure to join in the discussion on social media and use the hashtag GreatDebate16 and tag @CBU Banner on Twitter to contribute to tonight's event.
This is how tonight's debate will work. Each candidate will get 2 minutes to make an introduction. They will then answer a couple of questions. Each student will then have the opportunity to rebut.
Let's start off tonight's event with our first speech from Andrew Graff. Andrew is running unopposed for Director of Office Affairs. Let's send it over to Stephanie Rank, who will be moderating tonight's event. Stephanie?
Thanks, Becca. Andrew Graff is a sophomore health science major. Andrew, you will have 2 minutes for your opening remarks. You may begin when ready.
Thank you. Hello, everyone, and thank you for coming, and thank you to those who are watching online. Also, a thank you to ASCBU for hosting this event. As previously mentioned, my name is Andrew Graff, and I'm a sophomore health science major here at California Baptist University. I am running for the position of Director of Office Affairs. Even though I am running unopposed, I am going to take my job very seriously. I am currently on ASCBU as a sophomore class representative. I have past experience not only in ASCBU, but student government in high school, including student body president my junior year. I feel that I am qualified for this position, not only because I have experience in ASCBU, but because my brother is currently in this position, and I've learned a lot about this position from him. I am very passionate for ASCBU and bettering the student experience here at CBU. I want to reflect Christ in everything I do, as well as ASCBU as a whole. I hope to take everything that I've learned this year on ASCBU to serve you as a student to the best of my ability. Thank you again for coming and watching this debate.
Thank you, Andrew. You now have 2 minutes to answer the following question. In your interview with the CBU Banner, you mentioned you had new and improved ideas. Please describe for voters what these ideas would look like.
Well, I hope to receive input from you as the students on freebies that you'd like to see, so if there's something that you guys feel would be beneficial for you in your academic or any aspect of your student life here at CBU, I encourage you to come talk to me or send me an email and just say, hey, like, this is something that I think would help me, and I'll do the best that I can to provide that for you guys.
Thank you, Andrew. How do you plan to execute these ideas with the ASCBU budget?
Well, just researching and finding the best way to use the money that I'm given, and also getting the best quality and the best things for you guys.
Thank you, Andrew. Let's go back to our anchors, Becca and Randy.
Wow, it looks like he's gained quite a bit of experience from his brother. I know he was previously in that position, so that's probably helpful for his application now.
Yeah, not only that, he seems really passionate about putting the best foot forward for students and giving them the best opportunity at this school.
That open door policy should be really well implemented with him.
Yeah, absolutely. Next, we have Katie Juarez. Juarez is also running unopposed for the Vice President for Finance. Stephanie?
Thank you, Becca. Katie Juarez is a senior accounting major. Katie, you have 2 minutes for your opening remarks. You may begin when ready.
Thank you. Hi, my name is Katie. I'm a senior accounting major, and I am applying for the second year for the VP of Finance. And currently, as is the VP of Finance, I think that I've grown a lot in this past year. And with all the daily tasks of this position and the skills that I've learned, like time management, there's always room for something to learn and room for improvement. And I think that my experience in this position, as well as the skills that I've learned, will help me to succeed as the next VP of Finance. Now that I know exactly what the VP of Finance does and what this position entails, I feel like I have the freedom to improve on this past year. And if elected, I would make sure that the budget is used as efficiently as possible for the upcoming year. And ASCBU's budget, it comes directly from students, and I want to make sure that the money goes into making your experience at CBU the best way we can. And I think that a lot of students are not aware of ASCBU's purpose. ASCBU's mission is to enable the voice of the student body and to enhance the experience of the students, as well as to create stability for years to come. And I think in the past few years, ASCBU has made some major changes and has really strived to be there for the student body. And I want to be a part of that change this coming year, and so I know that I did whatever I could to give students a voice and make their time at ASCBU one to remember. And if I'm elected, I am ready to continue to make that change, invest in the best, vote for me. Thank you.
Thank you, Katie. You now have 2 minutes to answer the following question. In last year's debate, you mentioned that you were trying to keep a balanced budget for ASCBU. How did that work, and what changes do you plan to implement next year?
I think with the balance of the budget, I think it's important for communication with the Executive Council as well as the Senate to make sure that we're using it in the most effective way. And I think that I think the communication with that, and then as well as organization with making sure that we stay true to what we want to with the budget to use it the best for the students and what would make the students happy.
Thank you, Katie. What are your top 2 priorities as Vice President for Finance?
My top priority is to make sure that all financial matters are handled. That would probably be my top one. And then, like I said earlier, would be to be a part of the change that ASCBU's, what we would like ASCBU to be on this campus.
Thank you, Katie. Let's send it back to the desk with Becca and Randy.
Seems like Katie's game plan for this next upcoming year is going to be to make campus even better for students, building upon the experience that she's learned over the past year and the qualities that she's gained.
I know she's a veteran, but she also mentioned that she had room for improvement, which I like a lot. It seems that she still wants to grow, even though she's been in the position already for a whole year.
Yeah, absolutely. If you're just tuning in, welcome to the great debate hosted by the Journalism and Public Relations program at CBU. So far, we have heard from Andrew Graff, who's running unopposed for Director of Office Affairs, and Katie Juarez, also running unopposed for Vice President for Finance.
We invite you to join the discussion on social media and use the hashtag GreatDebate16. Let's continue now with our first competitive office, Vice President for Communications. Stephanie?
Thank you, Randy. Paulo Bilbao is a junior applied theology major running against Deja Jackson, a junior majoring in public relations. Again, you'll each have 2 minutes for your opening remarks. Deja, you will be speaking first, and you may begin when ready.
Hello, my name is Deja Jackson. I am currently a junior public relations major here at California Baptist University. As you may know, I am running for the position of VP for Communications. I want to come into this position with a fresh perspective and a creative mind. My goal for this position is to use the skills that I have learned over the past couple of years from my major. I feel that it would be best to communicate in a simple but unexpected way so that I am able to increase the quality and frequency of communication around campus. I want to make it so that when I am communicating to the student body, it is as interactive as possible. I also want to improve the overall image of what the ASCBU student government is through a strategic focus on initiatives that students want. I want to create content that is engaging to the student body to encourage them to stay updated on relevant information. I also want to be able to put a helpful face on the ASCBU student government. The track record for the VP of Communications has unfortunately been up for debate the past 2 years, with no one person holding the position adequately. I want to change that. Provide a stable foundation for outreach programs in our student government that will last longer than a semester. With that being said, remember communication is key. Thank you.
Thank you, Deja. Paulo, you now have 2 minutes for your opening remarks.
Hello, Lancers. My name is Paulo Bilbao. I am an applied theology major. I grew up in Pittsburgh, California, and I came here because I felt called to be a pastor, which is why I'm in the program. I am currently the VP for Communications, the position that we're running for in ASCBU. And I want to be in this position again. Honestly, I didn't really know what ASCBU did. A lot of students on campus don't really know, and they kind of have poor credibility with the students. But truly and honestly, ASCBU does a lot, and VP Communications should be the one that communicates what ASCBU does to the students so that they know that ASCBU is making a difference in the CBU community. So for future, I want to be able to share what ASCBU does, whether it's campus improvements, whether it's collab with events, just anything that does as we take hold and be a part of the CBU campus and be able to enhance their experience and really hear the voice of the students. Because there's a lot of opinions that are being made by the students, but they aren't being gathered by ASCBU, and I want to make a difference by gathering all those opinions, being a representative to the Dean of Students or to President Ellis. I want to be that and get all that information and give it to them. So thank you for your time. Thank you.
Thank you, Paolo. Deja, the first question is for you. You will have 2 minutes to respond. After that, Paolo, you will have 2 minutes for a rebuttal. We'll then go to the next question. Deja, can you describe what communication between ASCBU and the student body should look like?
I believe that communication between ASCBU and the student body should definitely look like I would describe it as a relationship. It should be constant, consistent, and pretty much effective and healthy. So that'd be my answer.
Thank you, Deja. Paolo, what is your response?
Deja, what are your plans? What are your plans for that? What do you think are the opportunities that you will make in order to do that? Have you thought of that? Are there ways that that the students can communicate best towards our social media now that are better, or can we do things more physical, as in like surveys that we take through booths or whatnot?
My plan for that was to meet regularly with other student organizations on campus, and to also meet with residents on campus, commuters on campus, anyone on campus regularly, maybe weekly, to get their input on situations so we know what's going on.
Okay.
Thank you, candidates. For the next question, we'll have Paolo answer first. Paolo, you have 2 minutes to respond, and then Deja, you will have 2 minutes for rebuttal. Paolo, if student involvement in campus activities is low, how do you plan to increase interest from the student body?
I'm sorry, can you repeat the question, please?
Of course. If the student involvement in campus activities is low, how do you plan to increase interest from the student body?
Basically, I would get a survey. I would take a survey from the student bodies and see what works for our campus and what for the CBU community now. With each culture, it's going to be different on what they like and what they want to do. And with that survey, whether it's doing voice boxes, which is something I plan to do, which is a revamp of our suggestion boxes, or one thing that someone suggested to me was use our Instagram and use the direct message, use that as a voice box as well, just to hear their voice and to be able to better serve them in the way that what their interests are. I think once you hit their interests and see what they want to do, then you can plan off of that and invite them to those events as well.
Thank you, Paolo. Deja, your response?
I would say that I would attempt to, I'm sorry, could you repeat the question?
Of course. If student involvement in the campus activities is low, how do you plan to increase interest from the student body?
As I stated in my previous opening statement, I want to keep the student body engaged in a way that they're constantly coming to events or things on campus and they know who ASCBU is. I want to keep them involved in what we do and also feel that they should be the ones who should stay informed about what's happening around campus. I want to inform them in many ways that I don't want to disclose at this moment, but that's my idea.
Thank you, Paolo and Deja. We'll send it back to our anchors, Becca and Randy.
Looked like both Paolo and Deja made some really good points. They're coming in from a couple different perspectives. It looks like Deja really wants to build a relationship with the students by having meetings to kind of have one-on-one, have a face for CBU, while Paolo, on the other hand, wants to kind of do surveys and polls to be able to better meet student interests.
That background in public relations should really help Deja too with branding ASCBU and really making that image known. For Paulo, I noticed that he says he wants to also branch out on surveying and social media. Great tools to impact students here who are so often on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and such.
Absolutely, and I think Paolo's past experience is also going to help him as well. Well, it looks like the Executive Vice President candidate is ready to deliver his remarks. Stephanie?
Thank you, Becca. Jackson Burge is a junior kinesiology major. Jackson, you will have 2 minutes for your opening remarks. You may begin when ready.
Thank you. Thank you everyone for coming. Welcome. I'm Jackson Burge. I'm a junior kinesiology major, which has already been stated. I'm also running unopposed like Andy and Katie, but that doesn't mean I'm not taking this job seriously. I am actually currently your VP of ASCBU. I love the position, and that's why I'm running again. I'm looking to both enhance things that I have learned over this year and improve on everything that I've been learning. It's been a learning process. I was asked to join this amazing organization over summer. Took the opportunity and have not regretted it since. I'm also on the men's volleyball team, so time management is a huge, huge part of my life, and I enjoy every second of it. But yeah, that's a little bit about me and why I plan to run for VP again.
Thank you, Jackson. You will now have 2 minutes to answer the following questions. You stepped in as Executive Vice President last year. Tell voters what that role is and how you seek to better ASCBU given this opportunity to be officially on the election ballot.
All right. Yeah, I was asked to join this position last summer. My job title is Senate Chairman, so your class representatives, the juniors, seniors, sophomores, freshmen, commuters, residentials, are all what I'm kind of have my hands on. So my job is to make sure that everything's running as smoothly as possible so they can work as hard as they can for you guys, the population and the people here at CBU. Having them put on some great events for you guys, make the right decisions, use your guys' money that you give them the wisest way they can. Yeah, what was the second half of that question?
How you seek to better ASCBU.
How do I seek to better it? Just pouring into both Senate and hopefully students around CBU, help Senate make, again, those wise decisions, put on those great events for the people that they're there to represent.
Perfect. Thank you, Jackson.
Thank you.
We'll send it back to Becca and Randy at the desk.
It's great to see that Jackson really answered that call and stepped up over summer. I know he said that he's also involved on campus, so it's great to see time management is a priority of his, not only on the court, but in the office.
Yeah, and it's great when he knows how to use that time management well. That means that he can really do a good job in making things run smoothly for those representatives so they can serve you as the student body. So it's great.
If you're just tuning in, welcome to The Great Debate, hosted by the Journalism and Public Relations program at CBU. We just heard from Jackson Burge, who is running unopposed for Executive Vice President.
We invite you to continue to join the discussion on social media and use the hashtag GreatDebate16. And now the debate we've been anticipating, the one between our executive presidential candidates. Let's send it over to Stephanie.
Thank you, Becca. McKenna Lamons and Anastasia Aguas are running for executive president. Incumbent Executive President Lamons is a junior pursuing a double degree in psychology and criminal justice. Anastasia Aguas is a sophomore political science and history double major. McKenna and Anastasia, you'll each have 2 minutes for your opening remarks. Anastasia, you will be speaking first. You may begin when ready.
Thank you. Good evening, my fellow Lancers, family and friends, and distinguished guests. I would like to begin by thanking you all for taking time out of your busy schedules to join us tonight. My name is Anastasia Aguas, and I would be honored to serve the CBU student body as your next president. I am currently serving as a cadet in the U.S. Air Force ROTC, and I am passionate about government and especially leadership. Over my college career, I've had the opportunity to work under California State Senator Mike Morrell and successfully lobby in Washington, D.C. And I've also had the opportunity to gain invaluable insight into the pivotal qualities that develop a dedicated and effective leader. I cannot fully convey to you how eager I am to take up this position as president. I'm excited to explore new ways to get Lancers involved in ASCBU and showcase the potential we have to provide for the students. I intend to invest in the development of future CBU leaders, in improve the quality of campus life for our commuters, and actively enhance the everyday experience of our residents. Traditions started by ASCBU are also dear to my heart, and I plan to uphold and elevate these beautiful parts of our culture. As your president, I'm not going to make you empty promises, but rather take action on your behalf to bring about the changes that you desire. I cannot guarantee you certain outcomes, but what I can assure you with perfect confidence is that I will be a servant-minded leader, always considering the best ways to serve you with your best interests and valued concerns as my paramount priority. I am prepared to make the necessary sacrifices required of a truly devoted leader, and I want to hear your voice and do everything within my power to serve you, my fellow council members, and everyone who makes up this outstanding community. The one promise that I will make to you is that I will lead with passion for the students of CBU, a dedication to the values that we stand for, and a commitment to serve with honesty, integrity, loyalty, and excellence before God. I have the utmost respect for my fellow candidates, and I encourage you to vote for whoever you feel will represent you best, the beating heart of CBU. Thank you.
Thank you, Anastasia. McKenna, you now have 2 minutes for your opening remarks.
Good evening, my fellow Lancers. My name is McKenna Lamons, and it's been an honor serving you these past 3 years as a freshman representative, director of office affairs, and as your executive president. I have an overwhelming passion for and a dedication to serving the student body. I realize that actions speak louder than words, so I'd like to give you a brief summary of what ASCBU has completed thus far this year. In regards to events and collaborations, ASCBU hosted the We Remember 9/11 event, provided mock interview portfolios for the Career Center, co-sponsored the Veterans Day event, and hosted the annual Christmas party. In regards to improvements, services, and changes, ASCBU installed automatic doors in the ADC, sends weekly emails informing you about what is happening on campus, posts our meeting notes on Inside CBU so that you know what we're working on, and are in the process of ratifying the Constitution to ensure that ASCBU is set up for success for years to come. And that is just a tiny glimpse of what ASCBU has done. My primary goal as a CBU president is to reflect Christ in everything I do. Ultimately, it's not about me, but allowing God to work through me to serve the student body. I promise to continue to exhibit stewardship and lead with character, integrity, and transparency. I'll be the first to admit to you that I'm not perfect by any means. However, I am fully confident that I am the best candidate for this position. I'm wholeheartedly committed to being your voice and addressing your concerns. The presidency requires full dedication and investment, and my hope is that I've demonstrated this to you. Being reelected will allow an easy transition into next year where ASCBU can pick up right where it left off. Realistically, nothing ever moves forward if there's no consistency. Why take the foot off the accelerator? Let's start the new year with a leader who knows what they're doing. I value the students here at CBU and my commitment to making decisions in your best interest. My hope is that you'll choose the most competent and qualified candidate for this position. The power rests with you. Thank you for coming out tonight.
Thank you, candidates. Anastasia, the first question is for you. You will have 2 minutes to respond. After that, McKenna, you will have 2 minutes for your rebuttal. We'll then go to the next question. Anastasia, as a candidate with a fresh perspective from someone outside of ASCBU, how are you planning to lead the student body?
As I mentioned in my speech, I am really thrilled for the opportunity to take up this leadership role. I've had a couple of years to get to know the student body and to be a part of it here on campus, and during that time I've had opportunity to hear from commuters and residents alike about things that they would like to see here at CBU, and I have some really neat ideas for things that we could implement that would affect all of them that I think would really enhance our experience here as a community, both for the students, for the faculty and staff, and for everyone who comes here to visit us as well.
Thank you, Anastasia. McKenna, your rebuttal.
So you mentioned that you've spoken to commuters and residents regarding what they would like changed, and you've taken note of what you would do. Can you tell everyone what their opinions are, and then say how you would fix it or address it?
Of course. So one of the things that commuters addressed to me was that they feel like they don't have a whole lot of space or a whole lot of storage, and that there's some things that they would like to see changed in the commuter lounge, for example, for it to be stocked with some snacks, for it to have a toaster oven. And these are things that I took note of, and I think they're very small changes that we could implement that would make the commuter experience a lot better. And I'd also like to potentially look into adding more room for commuters in addition to our wonderful commuter lounge that we have already. as well as looking into some ways that we might be able to streamline our parking situation. I know that that gets on a lot of people's nerves, residents and commuters alike, and I want to see what we can do to potentially work on that.
How do you, so to streamline the parking situation, do you have any ideas on that, or?
Yeah, one of the ideas that I had was to look into a system that we could have that would count what open spots we have, so that when commuters get here or residents get here, they can see where there's open parking so they don't have to drive around for a while. And I want to see what the different possibilities are for getting one of those things in here to work for us.
Would that count of the parking spaces be through ASCBU counting, or is that a public safety thing, or?
I think that we could work jointly with public safety and also see what we could do as ASCBU, as the office, and branch out and make those requests and concerns of the students known to the offices that could do something if we can't personally do something about it.
Thank you, candidates. For the next question, we will let McKenna answer first. McKenna, you will have 2 minutes to respond, and then Anastasia, you will have 2 minutes for your rebuttal. McKenna, what does being a leader mean to you, and how does that correlate with the role of being the president?
I mentioned this at the last debate. Kind of my lifestyle, I believe that leadership is not just a title, but it's rather how you're living it, whether if you're in a leadership position, if you're not. Leadership requires integrity, transparency, communication, diligence, effort, and that directly ties in with the presidency. You're in charge of not only the ASCBU Executive Council, but you have all of ASCBU, which are the best representatives for the student body. So you need to have that leadership just tailored, and it's also representing CBU outside. I am a representative of CBU to the mayor's office, and so I'm also being a leader. I'm representing all the students here at CBU to them. So it's not just I'm a leader here, and then you go home and you're someone different. I believe it's being consistent throughout, behind closed doors, in front of people. Leadership is a lifestyle.
Thank you, McKenna. Anastasia, your response?
You were talking about leadership, and something that I believe about leadership is that it also entails investing in future leaders, and I wanted to know if there was anything that you had done to invest in future leaders at CBU and kind of get them involved and stuff like that.
Yeah, so part of my role, what I feel as president, is to cultivate the leaders in ASCBU. So I have there's been some vacancies, and so I've appointed students and worked alongside them, got them on board, and I'm sure any ASCBU representative could tell you that as well. And so it is building up the future leaders, because of course I know I'm not going to be in this position forever. So making sure that there's stability for years to come, which is actually a part of our mission statement, effectively establishing stability for years to come. So I hands down believe in bringing up new leaders.
Okay, and you also mentioned representing the CBU campus to the mayor of Riverside. So what are some of the things that you've been able to do to represent the CBU campus and students to the mayor?
Yes, so we are putting on, the City of Riverside is putting on the Amazing College Race, and so that is going to consist of all 4 colleges in the Riverside area, and so we've partnered alongside, and ASCBU is going to help with creating a balloon arch for the event and doing other things, whatnot. So just ASCBU is impacting the community through that, and so it's through me going to the meetings, but it's ASCBU doing the work.
Thank you, McKenna and Anastasia. Let's send it back to Becca and Randy.
Thank you, Stephanie. We've heard a lot of great things from all of the candidates tonight. Looking back to the Vice President of Communications positions, Deja and Paolo both come from 2 very different perspectives. I think that Deja's experience with public relations is going to help her a lot with communications and kind of setting up that engaging atmosphere for students. On the other hand, Paolo does have that previous experience in the position, and so he will also be able to bridge the gap between students and kind of bring about campus improvements and events. So I think they both made really great points there.
Exactly. And of course, we have Jackson Burge, who is an expert in time management, as we can see from his busy schedule from sports to ASCBU to obviously still being a student. So it'll be interesting to see how he balances that all, especially as he continues his involvement with ASCBU as Executive Vice President, if he were to be voted in. Of course, that's still up to our voters. Although he is unopposed, we still encourage them to think for themselves.
Yeah, and then last but not least, for the executive vice president position with McKenna and Anastasia, once again, they both made really great points. Again, they both have two very different backgrounds and experiences, McKenna being the current president, and then with Anastasia being an ROTC cadet, and then her past experience with government with the U.S. senators. I think they both brought up some very good points about how they can serve the student body. They both seem very committed and passionate to serving the student body. I loved how they touched on the different parking situations that I'm sure all students think are a concern, and investing in the future leaders that are being brought up on campus. So I think that we've really heard great things tonight.
Of course, Anastasia is commuter-minded, as we've seen. McKenna's a little bit more community-minded. However, they're both looking to give back to CBU and plan for the future, not just for their own terms, which is incredible to see.
Yeah, absolutely.
This concludes the great debate hosted by Jay at CBU. We heard from our executive president candidates, along with those running for Director of Office Affairs, Vice President for Finance, Vice President for Communications, and the Executive Vice President.
Voting for 2016 to 2017 ASCBU offices is now open. Check your Lancermail for the link and tweet us your thoughts on tonight's debate at CBU banner with the hashtag GreatDebate16. On behalf of Stephanie Rank and the entire Journalism and Public Relations program of CBU, along with ASCBU, we would like to thank you for joining us for the second annual Great Debate. I'm Becca Wiedemeyer.
And I'm Randy Plavaika. Good night.